Welcome to the AI for Career Success video overview by Kurt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Today, we are digging into a pretty critical software recall from Waymo, who, as you know, is a huge leader in the world of self-driving cars. This story, based on reporting from outlets like Reuters and TechCrunch around December 6, 2025, is about way more than just a simple technical glitch. It really gets to the heart of a failure to follow one of the most basic, fundamental rules of the road.
We expect our technology to be smarter than us, and definitely safer. So what happens when that technology fails a test that basically every 16-year-old with a learner's permit is supposed to pass? Well, that's the core of the massive problem Waymo is dealing with right now.
Okay, let's get right into this. To really understand why this is such a big deal, you have to remember that Waymo is often seen as the gold standard in autonomous driving. I mean, they've got years of data and millions upon millions of miles driven. And that context is exactly what makes what happened next so shocking.
So, what was this specific problem? What was so bad that it forced an industry leader like Waymo to issue a major recall? Well, it all comes down to the big yellow school bus. Let's take a look at the numbers.
19. That's the number. 19 times Waymo's self-driving cars were reported to have illegally passed a stopped school bus. Think about that. This wasn't some one-off glitch. It was a recurring and, frankly, a very dangerous pattern.
And let's be crystal clear, we're not talking about some kind of gray area here. The AI was blowing past buses with their red lights flashing and their stop arms fully extended. Sources even reported that in one of these incidents, a Waymo vehicle drove past just moments after a student had crossed the road. That is a terrifyingly close call.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how this whole situation just got worse and worse. This wasn't an immediate recall. Oh no. Waymo actually tried to fix it on their own first, and it was only when that failed that their hand was truly forced.
This timeline really shows you how the problem unfolded. So, in mid-November, Waymo pushed out a software update they called a major improvement, but it wasn't enough. By late November, the violations were still happening, even on the cars that had the update. This complete failure to fix the issue is what led to the so-called voluntary recall on December 6th, all while federal regulators were watching very, very closely.
And that brings another major player to the table, the government. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, you'll hear them called NHTSA, is now officially involved. They've asked Waymo for detailed documentation on exactly how its system is supposed to deal with these school bus situations. The pressure is definitely on.
So why does this one specific failure matter so much? Well, because this isn't just a tech problem for one company. This is a full-blown crisis of trust for the entire autonomous vehicle industry.
Waymo's chief safety officer, Mauricio Peña, put out a statement, acknowledging that they need to do better. It's the right PR move, of course, but you have to wonder if the damage to public perception was already done.
And this gets right to the heart of the whole thing. The entire promise, the entire sales pitch for self-driving cars is that they will be safer than us humans. But this failure, it happened in one of the most fundamental driving scenarios imaginable, one that we expect human drivers to get right pretty much perfectly every single time.
So here's the crucial point. It all boils down to trust. If people can't trust a robotaxi to protect kids around a school bus, how on earth can they trust it with their own families inside? This one issue threatens the entire public willingness to accept this technology on our roads.
So, where does the industry even go from here? Let's break down the key lessons from this whole mess and take a look at what the future might hold.
All right, so what are the big takeaways here? First, software recalls, they're probably the new normal for cars driven by AI. We should just get used to them. Second, you can bet that government oversight of these systems is only going to get tighter. Third, and this might be the most important one, public trust isn't just a nice-to-have, it is the single biggest factor for success. And finally, this all proves that the ultimate challenge for AI is still solving for these so-called edge cases, which, as we just saw, can be something as simple and predictable as a stopped school bus.
And that leaves us with this one critical question for the future. Is this very public mistake going to force Waymo and all its competitors to double down and actually accelerate safety innovation? Or is the damage to public trust so bad that it's going to slam the brakes on the entire robotaxi dream? Thank you for watching. This is where we teach you AI and help you get smarter than your competition. Make sure you subscribe to the AI for Career Success YouTube channel. And please, like, comment, and share to help us reach a wider audience.